Okay, so on the heels of the whole thing with ALS and predisposition, um, all the different neurodegenerative diseases, every single symptom, okay, reminding you that vaccines and modern medicine cured death with disease. Wouldn't you rather have a disease than not exist? I mean, it's optimal not to have a disease. Hey, Chris, it's optimal not to have a disease. But if you're already weak, you already have major predispositions because your parents or you procreated on bodies that were weak, and you brought in modern medicine, you know, Mother Nature doesn't want weakness on this earth. Mother Nature is the harshest judger. Mother Nature is pure Darwinism. Mother Nature says if you are not fit for this life, the way in which she sees life to be fit on this earth, she recycles you back into the universe, and she's insistent. She only wants strong people on this earth. However, modern man has figured out, and modern medicine has figured out how to give you a stay of execution. So instead of having a high infant mortality rate and a high death rate in a population, you have a high disease rate in a population. Okay? So the fact that whenever, yes, we bring in more vaccines because we have more diseases that are going to recycle more weak bodies, that's better than death, but the quality of life has diminished significantly and will diminish significantly until you actually regenerate those cells and correct those issues. Okay? So I have to remind you all, whether you have autism, whether you have MS, whether you have some kind of cancer, whether you have ALS, whether you have polio, any of whatever disease, whatever diagnosis, if you have Raynaud's, you have lupus, you have fibromyalgia, you have diabetes, eczema, psoriasis. I mean, I can name all of the diseases out there. That was your cure for death at that time. Because if it was up to Mother Nature, you wouldn't be here. But man believed that people should live. Man found a way to give you life even if Mother Nature did not think you deserve it. So you all want to be like, oh yeah, Mother Nature's so wonderful, which she is, yes. Mother Nature has a specific purpose. But man has brought in due process. That's what civilized nations are, is they bring in due process. It's not kill or be killed. It's not pure Darwinism. Only the strong survive, though yes, that does come into play eventually. But man has brought in, modern man, the West, the Vatican, has brought in due process. They have found a way to see whether or not you really truly deserve to be put in jail or really truly deserve to die. Okay? And so you got to understand there's a reason why we have 7 billion people on this earth. 7 billion people on this earth because man wanted you to live despite your diseases. Now that you are living, it's up to you to correct the issues that you have. Because if you were strong enough, to bear a baby that didn't have any disease, we wouldn't be here today. But we have people who are bearing babies. Good morning, Edith. Who are bearing babies that are that weak, and instead of risking SIDS or death in infants, we're giving these kids a chance at life. And now it's up to the parents to correct the issues in their DNA. It's not up to modern medicine to correct your issues. It's not up to your doctor to correct your issues. It's not up to anyone but you as a parent to correct your issues. It's up to you as a parent to teach your children to correct their issues. And if you can't exemplify it, what makes you think that your children, your future children, are going to then be, a contributing member of society. So I have to remind you yet again that vaccines cure death with disease. So would you rather live? See, here's the thing. There are kids out there that have received all the vaccines. Okay? There are kids out there that received all the vaccines and they're doing great. Now, if they don't fix whatever weaknesses that they have, because now they're exposed to an environment, which they're going to anyways. If you were totally unvaccinated, you came into an environment, you're still going to be experiencing the environment as it stands, whether it's in a vaccine or in your environment. But if you don't systematically fix the weaknesses from your evolution, from your adaptation to your environment, you will see a continuous degradation. So even the unvaccinated people are systematically degrading. I know some people in the anti-vax world that are such big proponents against vaccines, and they have kids in the military, and they're going to Stanford Hospital to do treatments because their kids have systematic degradation, and they're unvaccinated, say their kids are healthier than everybody else, but they're still exposed to the same environment. So no matter what, whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, you're still exposed to the same environment. You're still going to then trigger whatever's in your predisposition. If you actually take in the right chemistry, such as the J juice, deal with the pain, stop slamming the government, stop slamming the vaccine campaigns, and start slamming yourself for being ignorant around this information, you might change the future. You might actually change the future. You might actually put your focus on what it matters, which is you, because you can't fix your kid. I mean, you can try, but I mean, unless your kid is really young and really small and you have relative control over them, okay, great. But most of your kids are adults, okay? Most of your kids already have major predispositions that have been triggered, and all it is now is just keeping them alive for as long as they have enough minerals in their body to keep them alive, as well as, you know, what are you exemplifying? And if you exemplify great health, will they follow? They might, or they might not. They'll be like, oh no, you have better genetics than I do. But no, you came from me, child. So the way to reach your children, to give them good health, is not by trying to slam my information down their throat or trying to blame the vaccine campaign. The way to reach your child is to exemplify. And some of you are not exemplifying, so there's no way you're going to change the future. There's no way you're going to change California. There's no way you're going to change anything. If anything, you're making it worse. I mean, look at California. It's progressively becoming worse and worse and worse. So don't you think you might change your campaign? You might change your focus? Because, you know, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result, and it's not happening. If anything, it's getting worse. I mean, it's tough to read, you know, San Francisco and Santa Rosa and all of those different communities just falling victim to homelessness, disease, plague, obviously the anti-vax community. And it's like, you know, I think the Democrats have thrown their hands up in the air because they can't control their population. So they'd rather let it go to shit. They'd rather let it go to shit, and then Darwinism will come in. And I get where they're coming from. The Democrats are realizing that Darwinism is going to come into play no matter what. So they're saying, you know what, screw it. We can't really fix anything, okay? The only way we can do things is just throw money at it, but, you know, money just goes through a sieve when you have leaky gut, right? So those minerals are just kind of leaking through the system, and it's feeding the coffers of people who have more power. And so you guys are the ones that are reaping the benefits of that, because you are losing focus on what's important, okay? And so, so I kind of understand the Democrats' point of view, because they've lost focus. They've lost focus. They lost it all. They don't care anymore. And that's kind of, you know, even the Republicans too, because then you have the Republicans like Trump, who is anti-vaccine, promoting that campaign. And though he has actually retracted that, it's out there. You have RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is a Democrat, promoting these anti-vaccine campaigns because it's giving him good reviews. But look at California, it's destroying itself. Okay, so instead of focusing and blaming the things that have actually given your kid's life, even though it's not the most quality life, but it's life that now you can correct. That's the biggest thing. That's the most important thing to understand is now that your kids have a life, though it's not the qualityest life because they have issues, but they have life. And now they have a chance to correct it or get recycled back to the universe to start over again. Because that's what really happens. Is that, you know, I mean, and then some of the RNA and the DNA, well, some of the biochemistry floats around in forms of energy, and relative to how the person passed away, well, then you'll be able to see some of their energy through specific devices as far as ghost hunting and all that. Okay, but those your kids that they don't correct their, you know, they don't correct the sins of their father and the sins of mother, they're going to get recycled back to the universe and start over again. And hopefully when they start over again, the J juice will still be around. They'll be in that dimension where J juice is around, and then they can correct the mistakes from years ago. But rather than dying, rather than having to recycle back to start over again, why don't you go and correct your mistakes now? Just so you guys know, in California is going to crap. Either you go down the drain with it, or you take care of yourself, stay out of the mix, do what you can, do the J juice, and then figure out if it's worth staying in California or not, or move somewhere else. But California is right now kind of, you know, a foregone conclusion type of thing, because there's so many people there and it's so desirable, but it's so expensive. There is going to be that balancing force. There's always going to be a balancing force. So, you know, where this all came from was the fact that when I actually studied Liberia, when I watched that video about Liberia and I saw and understood that's where we came from prior to biotech. I mean, that's pure Darwinism, no due process, kill or be killed, you know, it's survival of the fittest in the most purest sense. And we're not trying to go there in a civilized society. We're not going out and taking out people who are weak. Though right now we're seeing people who are vigilantes that are on the internet listening to rhetoric from people who with nefarious intentions, and then people try to take on vigilantism, trying to take on the jungle way of doing things. And that's why we have due process and the government, to stop those that want to implement pure Darwinism, because they have lost sight of themselves. So you got to know that vaccines and modern medicine cure death with disease. Now it's up to you to correct the disease to where you reverse it so you don't ever have to deal with it again. As long as you have your vital organs pumping, even though you might be paralyzed and like quadriplegic, and you can be like a Stephen Hawking. But if somebody in your world understands the J juice and they get it in you, and you go through the autophagic process and you feel the pain, you can get your life, you can get a life that you never had. Okay, or you can get your life back if you started degrading somewhere midlife. So yeah, RFK and Del Bigtree and all those anti-vaxxers are barking up the wrong tree, and they're making a shit ton of money off of selling you pills, powder, supplements, and contributing to their campaigns and all of this stuff, because let me tell you, fear makes a lot of money. Activism makes a lot of money. And so the thing that I focused on today as far as the ALS, is a reminder that some of you have a predisposition for that. Some of you were exposed to the polio virus, okay? And some of you hold those predispositions. And some of you are in the trendy sports world, the trendy workout world, or you're doing extreme events or doing things that could cause trauma to the body that could trigger some of these progressive degenerative diseases. And then the quality of life diminishes, and it's harder to climb out of those holes than it is to start the J juice prior to that triggering and dealing with the pain of healing. Okay? So no matter what, you take vaccines away, you have a higher infant mortality rate. You take away modern medicine, you take away vaccines, higher infant mortality rate. And then who are you going to blame? Again, the government? No, but you wanted no vaccines. You wanted no modern medicine. You wanted, yeah, but then you see people then go into the holistic world, taking in all of these aggressive imbalances, concentrated forms of fatty acid, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals, and trigger predisposition that much quicker because they have no idea what the hell they're doing. You see your friends taking in massive amounts of kombucha, massive amounts of elderberry syrup, massive amounts of apple cider vinegar, massive amounts of supplements and detoxes and baking soda and all that crap and the essential oils, and they are weakening their system systematically, accelerating the predispositions to trigger prematurely. And so, yeah, you take away all of modern medicine and you only do holistic herbs, you're still contributing to the same thing. You're still triggering things to happen prematurely because your kids are weaker than your generation. So, oh, but I give my kids onions and garlic and my kid is eating, garlic cloves as if it was candy. Holy crap. That's why the holistic world and RFK and Del Bigtree are doing a major disservice to their people, and they're making a shit ton of money off you guys. And then you guys are destroying your friends and family. But hey, it's all in the name of good intentions. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Instead of promoting J-Juice, you're promoting the premature degradation of your friends and family because it's all trendy, it's easy, and you want to be part of your mommy and me groups and all that. And guess what? It's going to bite you in the ass. And then you're going to try to do J-Juice, and then it's going to be so painful. And then you're like, I can't do J-Juice because it's so painful. But you've created your situation. You've created your situation. And then you want to go and blame somebody. But hey, we're going to be dealing with so many people triggering so many weird diseases. And then you have the stem cells and you have all the new therapies that are out there. The phototherapy, the light therapy, all these different therapies that are going to still trigger people's predispositions prematurely. You're going to have more exotic diseases, more new diseases that you have to get a vaccine for. And then you guys on weak bodies are going to have to be getting these vaccines because your kid's going to die in an environment with all this stuff floating around. It is what it is, but I'm giving you the information now and you can ruminate over it. You can talk about it with yourself, with your family, whatever. But really, the J-Juice is the only way if you believe that people should live, if not indefinitely. Because you're already seeing the outcome of all the different cures. Cures are temporary. Stay of execution, and some people can kind of live longer on the cures, but they still die. And some people will trigger premature degradation from the cures. And you have no idea what predisposition you hold. So you have no idea. You're taking a risk every single time you do a cure. Every single time you take that elderberry syrup, every single time you take that kombucha, apple cider vinegar, every single time you take your essential oil, or every single time you take that supplement, every single time you do anything in the holistic world, you could potentially be triggering something that you won't have a return because you've painted yourself in a corner. And I'm watching that as we speak. And life becomes very interesting when you can predict this stuff and you can see it. All right, you guys have a great day amidst all this. But remember, J-Juice is going to give you a whole different way of looking at the world, a whole different persona, a whole different biochemistry, and you have to actually do it. So, all right, bye.